Good morning, grade 10s, and welcome to the beginning of the year of mathematics. And we're just going to have a look with this video, just the start of the algebra for grade 10 before we get into factorization. So just the algebraic expressions, simplifying, collecting like terms, and so on. Okay, so we're going to start off with the algebraic expressions. It's the product of two binomials. I said it's harder type questions. So you will remember that we have done this in grade 9. So it's just a revision of the grade 9 work and then just a little step up to the grade 10 level. Okay, so let's quickly have a look. You will remember if I say to you simplify that, it means you want to take the brackets away. How do you take the brackets away? Is where you have to multiply those two brackets together with each other. And we always used to say, okay, it's foiling, you foil it out. So you're going to, if it helps you, you close up the second term in the first bracket and you're going to multiply that x to the power 3 with both terms in the second bracket. So x to the power 3 times 4x to the power 3 gives you 4x to the power. Remember, you multiply with the same base, you keep your same base, your exponent rules, and you add the exponent. So 3 plus 3 is 6. Then you're going to say x to the power 3 times negative 3. It's going to give you negative 3x to the power of 3. Then you take your hand and you can move it over to the first term, close that up, and then you have to multiply that negative 4 into both brackets in this, both terms in the second bracket. So you're going to say negative 4 times 4x to the power 3. Remember the sign also gets multiplied with the other sign. So your snare, first the sign, then the number, then the exponent rules. So negative times a positive is a negative. 4 times 4 is 16, x to the power of 3. Then the next one, negative times a negative is a positive, and 4 times 3 is 12. Always check that you can simplify it even further. Those two middle terms are like terms. So you're going to say minus 3x to the power 3 minus another 16x to the power 3 is going to give you that finalized answer. All right, so every time we have taught, and even with myself, fractions is always a bit scary. It's not nice integers, not whole numbers. It's a little bit scary, but remember that you've got your calculator to help you. So again, you just say, all right, those are two binomials. I'm going to FOIL them out. So I'm going to close up the plus a third y, and you're going to multiply that half x into the brackets, into both terms of the second bracket. Okay, so take your calculator and you just say a half times a third. If you want to, you could have done very quickly. Remember, multiplication of fractions is just top with top and bottom times bottom, numerator and denominator. So 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 3 is 6. So that's going to be a 6x to the power 2, and a half times a negative a half y, a half x times a negative half x, a half x times a half y is going to give you that negative a quarter xy. And then if you close up the first term there, a half x, and you multiply the next two, a third times a third is going to give you a ninth xy. Plus times a minus is a minus. A third times a half is a 6y squared. Okay, also you can just pop out your calculator and insert it there, and you can get your fractions multiplied together like that as well. Okay, always remember you can simplify that middle term. Again, because they're like terms, you can just pop it in your calculator, negative a quarter plus a ninth, and you get your answer is negative 5 over 36 xy. All right, then we want to quickly have a look at squaring binomials. So if you get a binomial, x plus 3 all raised to the power 2. The one way that you can do it is you can just double up on those brackets. X plus 3 times x plus 3. Okay, you FOIL it out as normal. After that, x times x plus 3 times x plus 3 times x plus 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, but there is a quicker way, and I just want to quickly allude you to that because it is later on in grade 10, 11, 12, you might have some time constraints and you would like to have a quicker way of doing it. And maybe it's just a bit tedious to double it up and then foiling it out. So there is a quicker way. All right, so please take note, there are 2 terms inside the bracket. That is where we're going to square this binomial. We're going to follow this. If there weren't 2 terms, if there was just 1 term, remember what I always say, everything inside that bracket is to the power 2. Then you can just say each term raised to the power 2. But because there's a plus, you cannot do that. It's not an exponent rule. You are going to have to either foil it out, double it up and foil it out, or you can work this quicker way. So what you're going to do is you're going to say that first term inside the bracket, raise it to the power 2. So x in the front, raise it to the power 2. Then at the back there, the plus 3 is also raised to the power 2. So please take note, it's a positive 3. If it was a negative 3, it's a negative 3 that's being raised to the power 2. So a positive 3 raised to the power 2 is going to give you a positive 9. So how do you get that middle term? You multiply the 2 terms inside the bracket with each other. So x times 3 is 3x. So you multiply the 2 terms and you times it by 2. Always. So 3 times x is 3x, times by 2 is a positive 6x. So it's a x times a positive 3 is a positive 3x. Positive 3x times 2 is a positive 6x. And that is the term that falls into the middle. And there's no simplification. There's your simplified answer. And you can see that's a lovely trinomial. Okay. All right. Again, let's just quickly have a look at this. If you had to square this out, so the 2x to the power 2 as normal, so the front is going to be 2 to the power 2 is 4x to the power 2 is x squared, so 4x squared. At the back, a negative 1 squared, so remember, place it in brackets, negative 1, the negative is also being squared, so it's going to become a positive 1. How do I get the middle term? You multiply the 2 terms and you times it by 2. So 2x times a negative 1 is negative 2x. Negative 2x times 2 is negative 4x. Okay, let's quickly do another one. So again, you take your first term, you square it. 4p squared is going to give you 16p squared. The back is a negative 3r. Negative times a negative is a positive 9r squared. How do I get the middle term? 4 times 3 is 12pr. 12pr times 2 is a negative, 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Negative 12pr times 2 is negative 24pr. Okay, so that is just a quick way. I always tell my students, you don't have to do it. I remember at school I knew this method, but when it came to the exams, I got a fright or I got scared, and then I just doubled up and foiled it in any case. So if you can get used to this quick method, it does really help. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to just double it up and foil normal. All right, let's quickly have a look at the product of a trinomial and a binomial. Okay, a trinomial's got 3 terms inside the bracket and a binomial's got 2. So where you have to multiply 2 now with the 3 terms inside the other bracket. So you're going to start off, you can close the negative 1 with your finger if you want. You're going to times the first term with the first term, and then a with the second term and a with the last term. So you're going to get a times a squared is a to the power 3 plus a squared minus a. Plus a. Then you're going to close up the a like I did there, and you can multiply that negative 1 in with each term in the second bracket. Okay, so negative 1 times a squared is negative a squared. Negative times a positive is a negative a, and a negative times a positive is a negative 1. Okay, now we're going to look at all the like terms. We've dropped our brackets, we've multiplied out. What is left is to simplify by adding and subtracting like terms. So that positive a squared minus a squared is going to fall away, become 0. And the plus a minus a also falls away, and what are you left with? A to the power 3 minus 1. Okay, let's have a look if you've got the trinomial first and then the binomial. Please remember that you can always just swap them around. You can take that bracket and put it in the front and the 3x squared bracket to the back. 3 times 2 is the same as 2 times 3, so it really doesn't matter which one is in front. So you could have just followed the previous example by swapping the two brackets around. But otherwise, very easy. You just take the 3x squared, you multiply it with the two terms in the second bracket, so 3x to the power 3, plus 3 times 2 is 6x squared y. Take the middle term xy and multiply it with the two terms in the second bracket. Positive x squared y. Plus times a plus is a plus. 2xy squared. And then the very last two terms, the very last term in the first bracket with the two terms in the second bracket. So it's negative 2xy squared, negative 4y to the power of 3. Again, you've dropped your brackets, you've multiplied out. Now you want to simplify by adding and subtracting like terms. So all your like terms over there, positive 6x squared y plus another x squared y will give you a positive 7x squared y. And those two terms are also like, and they just fall away. So plus 2xy squared minus 2xy squared. Please remember in mathematics, use your highlighters. It just helps for you to not, miss a like term so that you can see that you've captured all the terms into your next answer. So please use your highlighters. Okay, so there's your answer. 3x to the power 3 plus 7x squared y minus 4y to the power of 3. All right, let's quickly have a look at the product. Binomials. So you have to remember your order of operation, your BEDMAS, your brackets and exponents, your multiplication and division, adding and subtracting. Okay, so over here, if you have a sum like this, let's have a look. Where would we start? So if you've got two brackets, you're going to first FOIL those two brackets, and together with that we might as well just go and simplify that last bracket to the power 2. So we're going to square this bracket, but we're going to keep the brackets. Why do we have to keep the brackets? Because there's a negative in front of that bracket that first needs to be distributed to all the terms inside the bracket. So when you square that bracket, you are mainly just bringing that square in. You haven't distributed that negative yet. So if we FOIL that out, you're going to get 3 times 3 is 9a squared plus 6ab minus 6ab plus times a minus is a minus 4b squared. Then I'm going to quickly, so that is that simplified. You can rewrite that so that you want to clean it up so that plus 6ab minus 6ab, you can, it falls away and you are left with 9a squared minus 4b squared. Okay, so now I'm going to distribute that 2 into the bracket, but I'm going to keep my brackets. So I'm going to do the short way. 2a to the power 2 is 4a squared. How do I get the back? A negative b times raised to the power 2. It becomes a positive b squared. How do I get that middle term? It's 2a times negative b is negative 2ab times 2 gives you negative 4ab. Okay, so do you see that short way does help you in a long sum that you don't have to, you can go do it on the side if you want to, you double up the brackets and FOIL it out, but please remember keep your brackets because you still have to distribute that negative into the brackets to drop those brackets. Okay, so then you've got 9a squared minus 4b squared minus 4a squared plus 4ab minus b squared. Okay, then all your brackets are gone, all the multiplication is done. You are going to add and subtract by, you're going to simplify it now, by adding and subtracting like terms. Okay, that 9a squared and that negative 4a squared, they are like terms. Then the negative b squared minus another b squared, those are like terms. And positive 4ab, as he's got nothing to simplify with. So your simplified answer there is going to be 9 minus 4 is going to be 5a squared. Negative 4 minus another 1 is negative 5b squared, and plus the 4ab. Okay, what if you are faced with a question like this? You're going to say, all right, I'm first going to multiply. You could have multiplied the second and the last bracket, or the first two, as long as you start multiplying one bracket and your answer then multiplied by the second bracket or the other bracket that you didn't multiply with. Okay, so for me, that x plus 3, x minus 3 is so easy. I'm going to start with that. I'm going to first FOIL these two brackets. Then you get x times x is x squared, minus 3x plus 3x falls away, and positive 3 times a negative 3 is minus 9, times by x squared plus 9. Then you can go ahead and now you can FOIL these two brackets together. And then your answer will be x to the power 2 times x to the power 2 is x to the power 4, minus 9x squared plus 9x squared minus 81. That term, those two terms, like terms, they fall away, and you are left with x to the power 4 minus 81. All right, let's quickly have a look at a few more questions where we are collecting like terms. So I say, heads up, these sums are quite lengthy. You have to concentrate to not make a mistake. You have to keep your head in the game so that you can get to the right answer. And there's nothing more satisfactory than getting to the answer and say, yes, I got it right. Okay, so let's see where we're going to start. We're going to FOIL those two brackets out. We're going to multiply them. So we're going to FOIL to drop the brackets. Again there, we're going to FOIL, but please remember to keep the brackets. Why didn't we have to keep the brackets in the first two terms or in the first term, the first two brackets? Because there's nothing in front, or there's a positive, but there's nothing in front that needs to really be distributed in. So the signs wouldn't be affected. But with the second lot, with the second term, with bracket number 3 and 4, there's a negative in front there that needs to be distributed into those terms. So first you keep your brackets, distribute the negative, then you can drop the brackets. And lastly, we're going to square that bracket, but keep the brackets. Why? Because there's a nasty negative there in front that needs to be distributed before you can drop those brackets. Okay, so let's quickly have a look. So if you FOIL the two brackets, could you get a times b is ab minus ac plus b squared minus bc minus, keep your brackets, FOIL out the third and the fourth bracket. So you're going to get ab plus ac minus cb minus c squared minus, again, keep your brackets. The only thing you do is you are going to square that bracket. You can do the quick way. The a is being squared, the b is being squared at the back. A times b is ab times 2 is a positive 2ab. Now we're going to distribute that negative to drop the brackets. Same there. Distribute the negative to drop the brackets. Heads up, we have to keep our heads in the game because there's lots of like terms coming up ahead. Okay, so AB minus AC plus BC squared minus BC minus AB minus AC minus CD plus C squared. So if there's a negative in front of a bracket, you can take note that all the signs will automatically just change that's inside the bracket. So the positive will become a negative and the negative will become a positive. Same with the last term there, that's being that negative being distributed into that bracket, minus A squared minus 2AB minus B squared. Okay, so I've just rewritten that sum or the answer that we got in our previous slide, and I've highlighted all the like terms. So take your highlighter, please, people. I strongly believe in having a full set of highlighters when doing mathematics. So AB minus 2AB, those are all like terms. So your first set of answers are going to be minus a negative 2AB. Then the negative AC minus another AC is negative 2AC. The b squared minus b squared just falls away, and the blue negative bc plus bc just falls away. Sorry, and what is left that we haven't dealt with? The positive c squared, they had no like terms to simplify with, minus a squared. Okay, and there is your simplified answer. You can just write it in order of exponents, in a descending order of exponents, just to make your sum a little bit more mathematically correct, but negative 2ab minus 2ac plus c squared minus a squared is 100% correct. Shoo, what a long sum. All right, yucky fractions. Okay, let me just show you that it's not that bad. Okay, and normally with fractions being multiplied with a whole number or an integer, it will give you an integer most likely. Okay, so especially in grade 10. So let's have a look. So we're going to, first of all, we're going to distribute that, we're going to multiply that quarter x squared into the first brackets, and the same with the negative 3 over 5x into those brackets. So hopefully you can see that we need to distribute whatever's in front of the bracket into the bracket. So let's start. A quarter x squared times 4x is going to give you, and again, you could just punch it into your calculator. What is a quarter times 4? Hopefully you all know it's 1, and x squared times x is x to the power of 3. Then a quarter times 8 is going to give you a 2, and x squared times y is x squared y. Okay, now for the next term. Negative 3 over 5x times 25x squared. Punch it into your calculator and you get negative 15x to the power of 3. Then for the next term, a negative times a negative is a positive, and 3 over 5 times 20 is going to give you a positive 12x squared y. Then you are just going to simplify your brackets, your like terms. So x to the power 3 minus 15x to the power 3 is going to give you negative 14x to the power 3. And then the next two like terms, a positive 2x squared y plus another 12x squared y is going to give you a positive 14x squared y. And people, that was not too bad. Okay, so always when you see fractions, you get a fright. Please don't stress, take your calculator and just use your calculator to help you to simplify those answers. But just keep following your structure, your BEDMAS, where you want to get rid of your brackets. How do you do that? By distributing whatever's in front into the brackets. Okay, I hope that helped you a bit. And after this, I will be compiling a video on factorization. So please look out for that. And you must have a wonderful day. Thanks, and thank you for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.